Hello again and welcome to our November 2025 edition of Quick Kit. Links to everything we mentioned will be down in the description below. Let's get into it. Amaran announced their new Ray series of lighting fixtures, which consists of 4 different LED lights, the 60C, 120C, 360C and 660C, and they are priced very well given their specs and features. It's great that Amaran have split off from Aputure like they have, as Aputure's offerings have gone more towards the higher end of the market and Amaran's are looking to serve the lower, more affordable end. These new fixtures use a new Omnicolor engine to produce some really solid photometrics, have full color output, and their max power output is denoted by the number of the model, so 60C is a 60 watt fixture. They are made from lighter, not quite as robust materials compared to Aputure's fixtures, but this does mean they are much lighter and much more affordable. There are also a range of new accessories for the different fixtures, which look really interesting as well. These lights look like really good value for money, and are available to pre-order now on our website. Blackmagic have released firmware 3.22 for their Video Assist 5-inch and 7-inch 12G HDR recorders that has finally added support for Blackmagic RAW recording from the Sony FX3 and FX3. This has been teased for a while, and now finally both Sony and Blackmagic have released firmware for their respective products to allow this combination to work. This means you can record 4K up to 60 via the full-size HDMIs on both of these cameras directly to the Video Assist using SD cards. Have you had a chance to use this combination yet? Let us know in the comments. Up next, Canon have released the R6 Mark III hybrid mirrorless camera, their latest lens, the 45mm f1.2 STM, and the CR-N350 and N400 PTZ cameras. The R6 Mark III builds on the excellent Mark II, but has a bunch of new features and improvements. It uses the same 32.5 megapixel sensor found in the C50, can capture up to 40 frames per second in its stills mode, uses Canon's latest dual pixel CMOS AF2 autofocus system, and has in-body image stabilization, which can provide up to 8.5 stops of stabilizing power. It also has loads of great video features, including the ability to record 7K RAW video up to 60p and 3x2 OpenGate, as well as a range of compressed recording formats. It can capture some really nice looking stills and video. It's priced body only at £2,799, which I think is very good given its specs and performance. It's a truly excellent all-rounder, and we will have a video about it coming out very soon. Up next, they announced the new 45mm f1.2 STM RF lens. This is a first from Canon, a non-L series affordable f1.2 RF lens. Its £479 price is excellent, especially for a Canon lens, and I think that combined with the fast aperture, versatile focal length, compact size and lightweight is going to make it very popular. Hopefully this is the start of Canon releasing more lenses like this for their systems. We managed to check this lens out recently, so if you haven't already, check that video out as we compared it to the 50mm 1.2 EF and RF mount lenses from Canon as well. The image is nice overall. It's certainly more on the arty flawed optical end, but I think that could make it popular for video users. It's available to order now on our website. Lastly, they announced the CR-N350 and N400 PTZ cameras. These slide into their existing PTZ lineup like this. The big difference between these two new PTZs though is that the 400 features a 12G SDI output, whereas the 350s is just 3G. Otherwise, they both share the same sensor that can capture 4K 60, 42 10-bit, 20 times optical zoom, 40 times advanced zoom, and overall physical design. They both support a range of video streaming and control protocols and are available to pre-order now. Panasonic has released new firmware for the S1 II, S1R2, and S1 IIe, and it's a pretty massive one for these cameras. The headline change for the S1 II and the S1R2 is a massive improvement to the overheating performance which some users have experienced. This new update extends recording times massively according to Panasonic's numbers, and there are already videos online of people testing it, so I suggest if you want to learn more, check out the excellent Media Division video. I think this change makes these cameras some of the best value on the market currently in regards to performance and feature set. They have also added and updated a few other things like a new low bitrate MP4 mode, autofocus improvements, and a tweak to how the dual native ISO is displayed. The firmware is available to download now, And if you've been eyeing up these cameras but were put off with the potential cooling issues, now's the time to take a look at them. We reviewed both of them when they were released, so if you want to learn more about them, please check out those videos. Ancient Optics have released a second lens in their Phoenix series of rehoused cinema zooms, a 60 to 120mm t2.9. This is to go alongside their very well received 28 to 70mm Phoenix they released a while back. This looks like it is based off of the Tokina ATX 60 to 120mm f2.8 lens, which would make sense given the 28 to 70mm is using the optics found in the Tokina 28 to 70mm f2.6 to 2.8, which is a very popular vintage lens used for video. These are fairly affordable vintage photo lenses to get, but rehousing a zoom for true cinema workflow is incredibly difficult, and Ancient Optics have done a fantastic job with Iron Glass at rehousing these lenses. This new lens has a similar physical design and weight to the previous Phoenix, so it has the same 110 front diameter and PL mount and overall size and weight. They also apparently have a big enough image circle to cover the Eterna 55 in 16:9, but we'll be getting them onto our tool ASAP to check that. We also currently have their FD 35 to 105mm in for demo, so if you want to check that lens or these new Phoenix lenses out, drop demo@cvp.com an email. Fujifilm has finally started shipping the long-awaited Eterna 55 cinema camera, and we actually currently have stock ready to ship in our UK warehouse. We've also now got our demo units, so we'll be working on a review very soon, so if you have any questions, please let us know in the comments. We also have a camera available for demo in our UK and European showrooms, so if you want to come in and test one out for yourself, you can book a demo by emailing demo@cvp.com. With the camera finally shipping, we have seen more and more accessories for the camera come through. We've seen rigging from the likes of Mid-49, Tilta, Bright Tangerine, Wooden Camera, and at Camera Homage, Lights had G-mount versions of their Hectors on show, which would be a really interesting pairing with the Eterna. Up next, Atomos have released their latest monitor recorder, the Ninja TX Go. This is a 5.2-inch IPS monitor with a peak brightness of 1500 nits. It can record in a range of codecs including ProRes RAW and regular ProRes, Avid formats, and H.265, and has an excellent range of monitoring tools built in. It has HDMI in and out, 2 USB-C ports, one of which can be used to power the device, and uses Sony's NP-F battery. It's a much nicer design than previous Ninjas, as it uses CF Express Type B to record to instead of the more clunky SATA SSDs that they used to use. You can also record out to USB-C sources as well now. Atomos have also announced camera control for this new monitor and its bigger brother, the Ninja TX. They will be compatible with a range of cameras which Atomos have detailed on their compatibility page. This includes touch to focus, which I'm sure will be very useful for a lot of users. The new firmware is available to download now on Atomos' support page, and both these monitors are available to order now. With it being late November, we've been running our Black Friday promotions across the month, and we are extending our offers for Cyber Week from Monday the 1st of December. So if you've been eyeing up some new kit, now's the time to check out our website as we are running discounts and deals across loads of different products. Link to our website is in the description below, and deals will be running through to the 7th of December. DJI has announced a few new products, starting with the Osmo Action 6. This is their latest action camera that has a few improvements over the last generation. It now uses a square 1x1.1 inch CMOS sensor. I would actually love to see more square sensors in larger mirrorless and cinema cameras. It also has a variable aperture now, improved low light performance, can capture 4K up to 120 and 1080p up to 240 frames per second, and it even has a 960 frames per second super slow-mo mode. They've also created a range of lens accessories for it, including a macro lens adapter, field of view boost attachment, and a range of NDs. It's available to order now for £329 for the standard combo. Next, they announced their latest drone, the Neo 2. The original Neo came out last year, and while it was a good bit of fun, it did lack a few features that DJI have now added to the Neo 2. It now has omnidirectional obstacle sensing with front-facing LiDAR, can track subjects up to 12 meters per second, and like the original Neo, can be controlled with gestures or with a controller. It's rated to have a flight time of roughly 19 minutes, can record 4K up to 100 frames per second, has 49 gigabytes of internal storage, and from the footage we've captured, I actually think the image quality looks pretty good for such a small and affordable drone. I think for solo creators or people just wanting a little drone to travel with, I think it could be a really good option. It's available to order now for £209 for the drone only and £349 for the Fly More combo. Lastly, they released the Osmo Mobile 8 mobile phone gimbal. This new gimbal now supports 360-degree pan rotation, built-in NFC for Apple Docket for faster tracking setup, and a new module which has a built-in light, the ability to pair with DJI's mics, and can be used for tracking. It has a built-in extension pole and tripod, is rated for 10 hours of battery life, and can also power your phone. It's available to order now for £162. SmallHD have released camera control for Canon Cinema EOS cameras on a range of their monitors. This means you can now control key functions like shutter speed, aperture, ISO, ND, start-stop, and even touch to focus. How you configure the monitor with the camera will depend on what Canon camera you're wanting to use. Luckily, SmallHD have made a nice PDF which details what you need hardware-wise to connect the different cameras to the different monitors. I think this will make for some really nice configurations across the different Cinema EOS cameras that it will work with. If you want the license to do this, it costs around $400 and is available to buy now. Modulate have announced their new hypnotic mood. This is a Sony E to E mount adapter that still allows for full electronic pass-through and autofocus performance with Sony E mount lenses, but uses optics in the mount to add a more vintage, interesting aesthetic, like their previous tuners did, but for modern E mount lenses. The adapter modifies the spatial frequency response of overly sharp lenses, and it results in a pretty unique look, though it does apply a 1.3 times crop, which is worth noting. Looking at their example imagery, you can see just how intense the look can be throughout the different apertures. It looks like quite an interesting way to add some more interesting image character to pretty clean and somewhat boring Sony E-mount lenses, and it's going to cost just under $400. Sony has released a bunch of new firmware and announced a new video authenticity verification standard for news and broadcast institutes. First off, they announced firmware for the A12 and the A9 III, which includes autofocus improvements, 2 new film color profiles, and workflow tweaks. Next, they released firmware for the A7R5 and the A7 IV. This includes a bunch of autofocus tweaks again, security and authenticity features, and a bunch more. I'll put the full release notes on screen for these. They also released firmware version 2.03 for the BRAW, which is mainly for bug fixes. At IBC earlier this year, Atlas showed off an early prototype of their Kaizen 1.5 times anamorphic lens. These are designed for 65mm cameras like the Eterna 55, Alexa 265, and Ursa Cine 17K. And at Camera Image, they released more information about the series and showed off more prototype lenses. These lenses are going to be LPL mount as standard, and the first 5 focal lengths, which are 35, 40, 50, 75, and 100mm, will all be T2.5. These look like they could be a really interesting option for larger sensor cameras. Sirui have announced their new Astra series of lenses. These are full-frame T1.8 1.33 times anamorphic lenses with autofocus. And they're actually the first autofocus full-frame anamorphics. They are going to be available in E, L, and Z mount, as well as 2 different flares, a blue and a neutral one, and they look pretty compact given their specs. They are going to be somewhat weather and dust resistant, have consistent gear placements across the set, a 67mm filter thread, and have dual focus scales. And they are priced at roughly $1,000 each. Are you interested in lenses like this with autofocus? And what do you think of Sirui's lenses? Let us know in the comments. If you want to keep up with the latest and greatest kit, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you want to buy anything you see in this video, head over to cvp.com where our experienced team is waiting to help you. Adobe released Premiere Pro 25.6.1, which adds native Nikon NRAW support, as well as a bunch of other things. This means you no longer need to do the renaming trick for NRAW NEV files to R3D to get them to work in Premiere. When you import an NRAW file now, it gives you the exact same control parameters as if you'd imported an R3D file, and even defaults to Red's gamma and color space. This is a great addition for anyone who owns a Nikon camera that can shoot RAW, and it's available to download right now. Right, let's get into our quick-fire honourable mentions. Links to details about these are in the description below. 7 Artisans have announced another focal length in their Floral Bloom series of Cine Primes, the 37mm T2.9. We saw these at IBC, and they look really unique. Aperture released the Infinimat Clear versions of their Infinimat lights and Cytoslink Pro 2.1. Arri have announced the Film Lab, a film emulation plugin for a few different post tools, and SUP 5.2.0 for a range of their Alexa cameras. Asus announced their latest 8K ProArt monitor, the PA32KCX. Blackmagic released Camera App 3.2 for iOS, which brings live streaming into the app. Bright Tangerine announced their series of universal monitor mounts. Cordbag has released the Cord Tabs labeling for their Brick series. DZO have released their latest focal length of the Isle series, an 18mm t1.4. We really like the Isle series, so I'm excited to check this out. Godox announced the NOLED MG4KR full color LED fixture. Hollyland has announced the Lyra, a 4K webcam which can be paired with their Lark A1 wireless microphone. Laowa released their new 35mm f2.80D tilt shift macro lens. Liebeck have released the TH650X, their latest affordable tripod. Mid49 have released a range of accessories for the Nikon ZR. Minifab have announced a new top plate for the C80 and extension for the C50 top handle, both of which feature integrated leveling bubbles. Nanlite released the Cookie and Cookie S series of tiny USB-C powered LED lights, and the PavoTube 2 6CP, which uses their Nebula C4 color engine. Nanlux announced the FE30 and BE55 parallel beam reflectors for a couple of different mounts. Next Storage released a few new CF Express Type B cards. We've finally seen some real-world footage of the Nexus G1 camera and some images shot with it. Old Fast Glass Customs have created the long shot, which allows users to take advantage of the full look of large format lenses, but on Super 16 film cameras. Rode has introduced the Rodecaster Video S and the wireless micro camera kit. Portkeys announced the LH5C, a 5.4-inch HDMI monitor with a peak brightness of 800 nits and a very low price tag. Tilta released the Hydra adjustable support post. TT Artisan released two new focal lengths in their dual bokeh series of cine lenses, a 50mm and 85mm t2.1, which allow you to change how your bokeh look on the same lens. And lastly, XM2 have announced an upgrade kit for the DJI Transmission High Bright monitor, which actually looks quite neat. If you enjoyed this, please make sure you subscribe ready for next month's quick kit, and let us know what kit you've picked up this month in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching.